I love to see the towns passing by and to ride these rails neath God's blue sky. Let me travel this land from the mountains to the sea, 'cause that's the life I believe He meant for me. And when I'm gone and at my grave you stand, say God called home your rambling man.
Welcome to Ramblin' Man Podcast episode number 34. This one is with Knoxville legend Rob Howard. We just kind of ramble all over the place, so it's just a good conversation where we kind of bounce around his history and what he's doing now and what he's into. If you'd like to follow Rob online, go to knoxvillerob.com, and essentially if you go to any social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, if you just go to Knoxville Rob, you'll find him. And be sure to check out the book he just released. We talk about it a little bit on the podcast. If you go to Amazon and you look for Seller Secrets with Hutch and Howard, or if you just go to his Instagram and go the link there. It was really good having Rob on. Good guy, sweet guy. Our sponsor this week is a returning sponsor, Refill Coffee Cart. They serve delicious coffee when and where you need it. During the week, they set up at businesses. If you'd like them to set up at your business, look them up online at refillcoffeecart.com, spelled exactly how it sounds, or give them a look up on Facebook or Instagram at /refillcoffeecart. Give them a follow on social media. Look at their website. They usually bounce around different places. They were at the DW Designs opening. They were downtown at Mass General Store for the puppy night. They're all over the place, and I'm sure they'll be returned to the Knox Food Truck Park. But again, go to /refillcoffeecart on Facebook and Instagram, or look them out at refillcoffeecart.com. Be sure to give them a like and a follow. Go out, buy yourself some delicious coffee. Without much further ado, here's Rob. I feel woefully underdressed for this podcast.
Why? You want my jacket? I took the tie off.
Nice. You're originally from Polk County, correct?
Yes.
Boom.
I love telling people about Polk County because it's a great place to be from, and my parents still live there, and I love sitting on their front porch and looking off because they can look off on the Ocoee River where people,
Yeah.
That.
So for those who may not be from around here, where is Polk County?
If you go to Maryville and you get on 411, right before you hit Georgia, there's a speed trap, and that's Benton. and that's pretty much between Benton and the Georgia borders where I grew up as a child.
And what brought you to Knoxville?
The University of Tennessee.
Oh, my God.
Go Vols. Actually, when I was in, I guess I was a senior at Polk County High School, and one of my teachers, Mr. Dewey, he started up computer classes, and now they're pretty famous in the state because Mr. Dewey still has a national nationally recognized computer teaching course.
Really?
Yeah, in Polk County, at Polk County High School.
Huh.
And he also, that same year, it was his first year, and he started asking around if somebody wanted to work on the newspaper.
Okay.
And he and I and a bunch of my nerdy, like, academic bowl team friends all got together and set up the newspaper. It was called the Chilhowie Star, and it had, like, stopped years before. And we cranked it back up. Then I got in the back of my head that I wanted to do journalism and, a journalism degree. So I went up to UT, and the course, the first day they were like, "Oh no, you need to be in PR. It pays a whole lot better than journalism."
Oh my God.
And I was like, "Well, public relations sounds like a something that I enjoy doing. I like the public, so whatever." So yeah, I had no idea what it was, and stayed in it, and that's what my degree's in.
It's in public relations.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So who knows the sliding doors effect?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
can just see you in one of Randall's hats with the press thing coming out of the edge, in a dogged reporter.
Hold on, Mr. President.
Hold on. Oh my God. Yeah.
Anyway.
In another world. I feel like that needs to be a photo shoot. You
Yeah,
as a dogged reporter.
that would be fun.
In a trench coat.
Maybe all the communication disciplines,
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. Use a DJ.
oh yeah, that would be
Oh my God. So when you went to UT,
It was 91 through a few years after that.
okay. Did you get into anything while you were, did you go to all the football games, basketball games, baseball games? Or?
I had an interesting, first of all, living in the dorms, just my life experience. I'm the goofball who came from a place where I thought I knew everybody, and I thought I was supposed to know everybody wherever I went. So I was the guy who walking to and from classes would be like, "Hey, how's it going?" Awesome. That goofy guy that just, and the endless tracks back and forth from the dorm to the classes, you saw the same faces every day. So why the heck not? And I actually made some really good friends that way. I rushed a fraternity, but I didn't join. Interesting story. My parents, being good Southern Baptist Christian folks, kind of bribed me into if I would not join the fraternity, but I joined and started doing more Christian type activities, that they would pay for mission trips, and they would pay for it was a good bribe.
Yeah.
And in retrospect, I'm glad that I accepted that offer.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, there was, and not only not that I loved doing the mission trips and enjoyed meeting all the different people and doing all good works around the world and different places that I was able to go. So I'm happy to do that.
What? Because I already know the answer to this. What did your folks do?
What do you mean as far as
for jobs?
Oh, for jobs. Well, Dad worked in a manufacturing. He worked for Magic Chef that became Maytag, and he worked in the factories. And Mom was a bank secretary and also a teller. But we all have what we call jobbies.
Okay.
Dad was the small town wedding photographer for basically anybody between, or just about anybody between Cleveland, Tennessee, and Polk County. He was like, and Mom was a hairdresser, and she celebrated, I think it's like 50 years doing hair now.
Wow.
And I don't know if she celebrated. I think most of the time she's like, "My feet hurt, but I love my little ladies."
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sort of a Norman Rockwell existence in a lot of ways, looking back.
Yeah. But I also, because I was getting there, when you were in school and getting into PR, or even maybe in high school with the newspaper, did you kind of get into photography back then? Or when did your love of photography?
No.
I thought it stemmed from your dad. That was the road I was trying to get on.
Yeah. Well, it completely extended from Dad. Dad, we had a dark room down in the basement of our house.
Wow. Okay.
And Dad would. One of my earliest memories was he was fussing with the projector, trying to figure out and he would teach me how to dodge and burn photos and all the good stuff.
Oh yeah.
And that was, I bet I was 3 years old, maybe 2 years old.
Oh wow. Okay.
And every time that I go, when I think about photography, I think about the the chemical smells that nobody in the digital age gets to
No,
enjoy. I
no.
mean, they're not that they were whatever. It's just it's more tactile. It's more it's awesome to
Yeah.
be in those places. And I know there's one in Hamburg. I haven't.
Yeah, the community darkroom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really want to go over there and
Sean
try that out
has
sometime.
a subscription, membership, whatever you call it there, and he's really enjoying it. It's getting him into shooting more film now. He went and bought a medium format camera and started shooting more
oh
with it.
sweet.
Yeah.
I've got a few old Minoltas. I wonder. I saw that you have a Brownie.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if I've got a Brownie, but I never really figured out, how
How
you
to
could
use
get
it?
film for it.
Oh,
Or even use it, I'd probably have to clean it out regardless.
yeah. Have to clean out. You might talk to the people at F32.
Okay.
They probably have a line to get
Is that F32.com or?
or No, it's a place here.
Oh.
It's over by Westtown Mall.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's a photo processing studio.
oh, sweet.
And they have all kinds of film and stuff there. Or talk to the people at the community darkroom. They probably may have it even better
Yeah.
line. But oh yeah, I've got over 500 antique cameras in this house. So
Oh, that's cool.
that's my retirement thing. Is whenever I retire, I want to sit down and clean them out and fix them up.
Oh,
Yeah,
the perpetual tinker.
yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah,
I've
okay.
told people I do real estate to finance my photography habit.
So
There's a lot worse habits to have, I guess.
So when you were doing the newspaper in high school, what was your gig on it? Were you the editor?
I
or
was
were
the
you
editor. Yeah,
You were the editor.
I was the editor, which basically means begging people to turn in their stories
Oh my God,
and
yeah.
Showing up to random classrooms and snapping pictures of maybe visually interesting and usually not very visually interesting
yeah.
things. Hey, here's Miss Moss showing how to do trigonometry or whatever.
Figuring out who's going to cover the sports beat, who's going to cover the lunchroom, who's
Exactly.
all
Well,
that.
sports was never a problem because everybody, all my little pals wanted to have some kind of interaction,
Yeah.
and that was almost a key to popularity because all the jocks and all the cheerleaders wanted to be featured in the newspaper. Everybody loves to have their picture made,
God.
but
Okay.
so I mean that one wasn't too hard. I know that like I said, the bowling, the academic bowl team,
Yeah,
Geek Squad that I was
yeah.
prominently a member of, we probably got more features than deserved.
I don't know why. I don't know why.
Yeah,
There's that dang darn editor.
yeah, I know.
Yeah,
That and FFA, or
Future Farmers America. Oh man.
because everybody loves pictures of cows, right?
Oh my God. Yeah. So you got to college, did PR, became friendly with everybody, but did you do anything? Did you go explore Cumberland Ave and see a lot of live
always.
music?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That was one of my favorite things to do, and I've still developed a addiction to watching the local music, and
Yeah.
it's fun when some of the people that I saw down on the strip, down at Flamingos or at what was that?
Hawkeyes.
McGee's Irish Pub. That
Yeah.
was a long time ago, but back when the library changed to Moose's Music Hall. I don't know if you remember that, but
It was, by the time I started going there, it was already Moose's.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, it was. I remember one of the first bands that I saw that I was like, "Oh my gosh, they're awesome!" was Cracker,
Oh, yeah.
and
David Lowery.
Yeah, and it was like half Cracker and half Camper Van Beethoven songs that they were doing.
Oh, wow.
And that was just, I don't know, that was a great one. There was a local band called Copper.
Yeah.
that, you remember them?
Oh, is this different from the metal band?
Well, they were rocking, but I don't know that they were.
There was a metal band in the early 2000s.
Yeah, that was them.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was them.
Yeah, they
I
were.
thought they were more metal. Maybe not. Maybe it was just hard rock.
Yeah,
kinda.
it was hard,
Yeah.
harder rock, but yeah, my buddy Dave and I would just wander around the strip and go to, we would go to the convenience store and buy some baseball cards, and then he was like the baseball addict, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, these are cool, and I like the photography on them and all
Yeah.
that. So, I is this guy good? Is this guy good?
Oh, my God.
So I don't know. My inner journalist, I guess, was still like,
Yeah.
I want to know a little bit about everything. I don't really need to know everything about much.
So, man, I didn't realize Copper had been around that long.
Yeah.
He, our friend, you know Adam Kennedy.
Yeah.
So Adam said he saw that guy perform at Open Chord.
Oh,
just
really?
Doing solo acoustic.
Yeah.
The main guy. I was like, that's wild. Like, and he said he was really good. So now that's even bigger to me because I was like, holy crap, that means he's been playing for like 30 years.
Yeah,
man.
it's been a long time.
I didn't realize. Okay. Man.
But also, one of my cool things with music, I've gotten to be the landlord over the years for a bunch of cool little
really?
bands. Marina Orchestra.
Yeah.
You remember them?
Yeah.
I went to their house one day to fix something or something, and they had a little tag that said "Welcome to the Marina" at my house.
Nice.
And I think it was in that house that they kind of designed and decided what they were going to be. So
Okay.
I thought that was really fun.
Is that the one that it's, I can't pronounce his name, like Alexa Papalopoulos?
I think he was in it.
Yeah.
Gosh, Courtney Bergmeyer's husband. Anyway,
Okay.
there were a bunch of cool guys.
Yeah.
And, it was just I loved doing that kind of stuff. And back in the day, we had a bunch of little houses that then
Yeah.
things happen. But
Yeah.
I sold off some, and I still have a couple, and just
Okay.
different stuff.
But seeing a lot of those local bands, did you ever take your camera to take some photography of those local bands? Or?
Well, when I came to UT, I started
Yeah.
working for the Daily Beacon.
Okay.
And that one, gosh, I remember shooting pictures at the Jimmy Buffett concert. I know that I have some of local bands, but
Yeah.
then, having that accessibility as a whatever, 18, 19-year-old,
Yeah.
was just amazing. I remember one time they messed up my press pass for Aerosmith.
Okay.
And I'd invited a pretty girl to go with me, and we were just going to, go
Yeah.
enjoy the concert and snap some pictures. And
Yeah.
if we were lucky, talk to Steven Tyler or something. But they messed up my passes, and I ended up walking around to the back and talking to some people, and they let us in, but they wouldn't
Yeah.
let me bring my camera. So,
Oh my God.
but walking backstage, and the way that I went in, it was you walk past the little cafeteria area or wherever where the band was eating and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So we got to see them like behind the scenes,
Yeah.
and walk through the front entrance to where the band walks up on the stage and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So
Wow.
that was
Okay.
as a young person from small town Tennessee, that was like being magically transported to New York City or something.
Where Jimmy Buffett and where did Aerosmith play?
Oh, they were both playing at Thompson Bowling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know when my dad and them were younger, and this would have been more the 70s, a lot of people played Stokely. So I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if they were still
I saw the Spin Doctors at Stokely.
really.
Yeah, that was fun.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah. That and girls volleyball is all I ever went to. I was in concert choir. We did a couple of shows at that little auditorium on the side. What
I'd
I'm
only
talking
been into Stokely one time, and it was when we were going to state championship for basketball my senior year in high school.
Mhm.
And Coach Wright wanted us to go in there and practice so that we could get a feel of being in a bigger gym.
a bigger gym. That makes sense.
Because the gym at Fulton was tiny. It was a sweat box. And but I just remember going in there, and we were only in the gym. We took up one half of the court, and the other half of the court was like 4 football players having a dunk contest on an 8-foot goal. And they were all like defensive linemen, big old dudes. Like, it was funny. But I didn't realize there was an auditorium there.
Well, it may be I don't know. There's something, to me, it may have been an adjacent building, but it's still part of that.
Okay. Okay.
Part of Stokely.
Okay.
And yeah, because I remember I don't know if there was a plaque or whatever, but it was like Sinatra played here in 42.
Really?
And yeah.
Oh my God.
That whole, but that was where we did a lot of the UT concert choir
Okay.
performances, and
While there, did you ever go to like Clarence Brown or Carousel?
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
loved going to those. I still go sometimes to the Carousel Theater is always interesting because people are performing to everybody. You know, it's a theater in the round, so half the time, depending on the actor and their agility, I guess, or their how much they move around, you may be watching the back of the play. It's
Right. So when you were going to school, did you kind of mainly stay on campus? Because at that point, Market Square was pretty dead. Downtown was pretty dead.
I would go. That was one of the places I went solo. Was like to the Mercury and saw. The I guess ska was really popular, and some of those bands that I don't remember taking like, oh my gosh, I saw these guys. I know you've told stories about you saw different people there over the years, but I remember there was someone named The Articles. There were a bunch of, it was probably all the cool bands that turned into cool bands and then turned into other things, But when I would go out there, it was like me and a bunch of punk kids, who were quite a bit younger. And I remember being a little bit scared, because, you're walking through, you're the only...
Yeah, and Crutch Park was full of drug addicts and stuff at that point.
And I was the only, like, preppy teenager or older teenager who was, like, wandering around and doing, going in there.
Yeah.
And I remember looking around one time and feeling like, oh, my gosh, there could be tumbleweeds going through here. It's just so quiet and so different from the way it is now.
Yeah, and I told you, here's a little off-mic conversation. We were talking in text about, I didn't realize where Ella Guru's was.
Oh, yeah.
For some reason, I didn't realize it was down where, like, Melting Pot is.
I think, as I understand, it's where Urban Bar.
It was actually Urban Bar.
Yeah,
Okay.
the way,
Maybe that photo was just weird, like a back entrance load-in or something.
It could have been, or it could have been down where Melting Pot was.
Okay.
I never got to see that. I never made it that far from campus.
Okay.
At least at night.
Because by the time I started going to the old city, it was already BW3
yeah,
BW3.
yeah, but BW3,
BW3
or Buffalo Wild Wing or whatever it was.
Yeah,
It was the same thing.
And I just remember BW3. You had to be 21 to get into. So, like, I went to this thing when I was in high school where they brought out food and everybody got to try and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And, but then by the time I was in college, it was like, cool, I'm going to go to BW3. And we walked up to the door and they were like, ID? It's like, what? I'm over 18. They're like, no, ID. And they looked at me. It's like, no, you're not over 21. You can't come in here.
Oh, no.
It's like, are you kidding me? What the hell, man?
Well, the way that I was like, oh my gosh, is Ella Guru, it was that, or Ella Guru, however you say it, was because I was talking to, it was either Todd Steed or Steve Britton, who was in Immortal Chorus.
Uh-huh.
They both talked about either playing before or playing with REM and when I was in college. And even now, I'm a pretty big REM fan.
Yeah. But
which is kind of an odd thing to be these days. I'm 45, and that's probably one of the reasons I'm dating myself. But
oh god, hush. And down on the far end was this. I wonder when the Spaghetti Warehouse. Do you remember when the Spaghetti Warehouse? When did it start? Like, had it been there for a long time? Or?
I think it had been there when I started going, down to the old city.
Okay.
Because, I remember going there, and they had the big, like, tour bus kind of thing that you could actually go in and eat it.
That was still there when I first started going to Barley's.
Yeah.
And it used to be the bar was on the other side.
Yeah, they completely swapped it up.
And they used to have where you could sit on the other side of that train car and hang out. Because I remember I think the first place I ever had a craft beer. And I was in there with a buddy of mine. I ordered that Firewater beer. And it looked like they just ran the glass through the dishwater.
Oh.
Like you couldn't see through it. It's brownish gray. And
it probably tasted awful.
It tasted awful. And I was like, dude, I don't think this is good. And then he was like, oh, man, you just don't know what you're doing. He tasted
Well,
it, it's like, oh no, this is terrible.
My strongest memory of like the first few times that I went to Barley's was always what was it called? The Fat Daddy, the pizza that they make.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah.
I think it's called, I don't know. It's all the meats basically.
Yeah.
And I would always get the Big Daddy calzone. I think is what it was
Oh
called.
my God.
And gosh, yeah, that's a very good food memory, and it's still on the menu. I mean, I
Is
just
it?
yeah.
Okay.
I just very rarely
Need that much.
yeah, and Amy's got me on keto. So.
Oh, okay.
not her. It was my choice too, but.
When Spaghetti Warehouse was in there, do you remember, was the upstairs still kind of how it is now?
No, for some reason. Well, I know there's that little back meeting place, but yeah, I don't remember going up there that much. I do remember like 2007 going up there because Saul Young and a bunch of his journalist buddies that I was kind of friends with because I met a bunch of people because I'd known him back at like we were hanging out at a coffee house, 11th Street. Loretta Grannis Coffee House.
Where was that at?
It was on 11th Street, oddly enough. Right on, the Victorian houses that were there on World's Fair Park?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a little coffee house.
Oh, shoot. I remember that.
Yeah, and the back porch would look off on, I remember watching or listening to the Ben Folds 5 concert.
I was at that show.
Were you?
Yeah.
Well, I was in the little
that's hilarious.
on the back porch of the coffee house. But I met Saul there. His name was Alan back then. But
wait, Saul is not his real name?
Saul's his real name. Alan was his teenager name, I guess.
God, Saul.
But he was the holding court there. As just he's the roving cool guy that everybody loves.
Oh
He was the exact same when he was younger, and we were at least that night. I remember sitting on the back porch and.
I think that was one of the first places I saw that was like a coffee shop.
Yeah.
To where it kind of looked like a high tea kind of place to me.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of before I started knowing about like Java. I think that wasn't before Java, but that was probably in the early days of Java.
It was about the same time.
Yeah.
Because I remember going to Java and I was like, their coffee may be a little bit better, but I like the ambiance. I love pulling out Scrabble and playing Scrabble for 2 hours with, some really smart people. Some of my best friends now.
So you're going to school, you're going and seeing local music, and I'm trying to think right around that time. Yeah, when I talked with Peggy, I don't know how often Judy Bats, once they signed, were playing here. I feel like they were all out on the road a lot.
Well, yeah, I think, and a lot of they were probably on their end, the end run. Because I remember going when I was in Cleveland. Of course, Johnny Shagrew's there, and there's some of the people are from down there, and I remember they were getting airplay enough that I went to the record bar in Cleveland Mall and bought the Native Son tape. And that was bar. And it was just like going to Cats, here. We didn't have a Cats. The only Cats was in Chattanooga, and that was 45 minutes away. So
because they used to have Cats in Oak Ridge.
I think there was a Cats in Chattanooga, or maybe it was just Record Bar, and I'm transposing.
No, I'm just trying to remember around here. I remember there were like 3 or 4 different locations around here.
Yeah. Well, when I think of Cats, I think of the one there next to across from Chili's and all that on Kingston Pike.
Near Westtown Mall. That was there because I used to always go and scourge through their used CD sections. Try and find. So, wait, when did the Disc Exchange start? Would that have been right around that time?
Yeah, it was.
Okay. So you got to see kind of the early days of the Disc Exchange.
Yeah, well, I had gone to, sat through graduation and everything with Paige Travis, and she was working there, and then I met a bunch of those guys,
Yeah.
Just off and on, not like bosom buddies with anybody, but I do consider Paige a good friend.
Yeah.
But, and they always had fun shows, too. I remember seeing, what were they called? Calexico?
Mm-hmm.
I remember they were playing somewhere and they stopped in and played.
Wow. Okay.
That was neat. And
I think
a bunch of those types of shows, and then Randall Brown, his different iterations. Courtyard played there, and
I think by the time it was kind of weird. I think they kind of stopped doing shows except for like specialty shows, like when the Foo Fighters came through and played.
yeah,
But you had to win a contest or something to see that, those kind of shows.
mm-hmm.
And then finally, once Record Store Day started back up, then they started doing more in-house shows.
yeah.
And I think they even built that little stage around that time, because before then, I don't remember them having a stage. It was just a corner with a bunch of shirt racks.
Yeah, they would just clear off the detritus and fit everybody in there. But the Lost and Found, that's another kind of fun story, music story. At that same coffee house, I met Nathan Moses, who works at Lost and Found, and became one of their rabid fans of the Bitter Pills and some of his groups that he was playing with at that time. I love. Have you heard of them?
I've got an album by one of his bands that at Record Store Day I think it was like if you bought over a certain amount of money, they just gave you a copy of his.
Okay.
It was either that or one of my friends just made me buy it. I can't remember one of the two. It's got a green and black cover. I can't remember.
Well, the Bitter Pills played like 1960s lo-fi mod music, like kind of grunge.
Checks out. Yeah.
And gosh, that was, I don't know. I just really loved going to their shows and watching, and it felt like the 60s, especially at like the Pilot Light or somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And just felt like a good big time,
So you got to see that 90s era for local music was kind of, it was weird in that I remember by the early 2000s, like a lot of local music had kind of died out.
Yeah.
To where a lot of venues were like, we don't want to put local acts on. But the 90s, it seemed like there was a lot more going on.
I never really saw Smokin' Dave, but every Todd Steed effort after that, Opposable Thumbs and Ape Life and those guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was my event calendar. Whenever they were playing out, whenever I could, I would be there because I don't know. Just he's so clever and so creative and I don't know. Feels like listening to home, in some ways. It's just like. Did
you ever go to any of the ambient night shows at Java?
No.
Those were always interesting. They would just play ambient music, like ambient music.
Yeah.
And they called it ambient.
Ambient. I think, wasn't there a little local record label or something called Ambient? I think.
If not, I think they released a mix album.
Okay, that's probably what it was.
I probably there or something.
Somewhere in one of my storage buildings, I probably have an old ambient mixtape.
Oh yeah, I think I've got an MP3 download where George Middlebrooks had posted it or something. Or maybe even Todd, because Todd was an early adopter into Bandcamp. So, but yeah, I always bug George and Todd about trying to start those nights back up. But George said it was is more of a pain trying to wrangle people into doing it.
Yeah,
as I think it was weekly, so it was like every week they had to have 4 people, and it was 2 people playing together and then 2 people playing together.
Well, they should talk to the Temple people because they seem to know how to get things going on an ongoing basis.
Yeah. I told them even if they just did it once a month, like the first Wednesday of every month would be ambient night.
It sounds like a Central Collective kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, I don't think the people who now frequent Java would be too into that.
Yeah.
Whereas back then I think that's right when Meg and Sean bought it, and before Meg and Sean bought it, did you ever go to any of those weird punk shows there?
Oh, did I ever?
This would have been late 90s,
I think
early 2000s.
I've only ever gone to the Long Branch to see a punk show that I remember, straight up punk.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know it was straight up punk. It was just like some of my friends were doing some kind of opening show or something, and I was like, oh.
Is the Long Branch? I know it closed,
No,
but
I assume it's long gone, but I don't know.
I wonder if they've torn that down. Surely they haven't torn that building down. It's got to be in some kind of historic registry.
Yeah, it may have crumbled to dust at this point.
Oh my God. I just remember going in there one day during the middle of the day and drinking beer with a buddy of mine. He and I used to randomly bar hop along Cumberland when we were both not of that age.
Yeah.
But it'd always be during like the summer or something where there would be no kids. And we went to the Long Branch in the middle of the day in order to, and that's where he taught me how to tip for beer. Like, I was like, all they did is crack open a bottle of beer. And he was like, give him $1 the first one, then don't give him $1 for the second one, then give him $1 for the third one, and then don't give him $1. He's like, that's how that works.
Oh, this is something I never learned.
And now I look at that, I was like, that's still awfully cheap, but that seems right. When you're buying a $2.50 beer,
Yeah.
$1 for 2 beers for a tip is, I don't know. I'll have to ask Brooklyn if that's fair. I don't know.
I remember going back and talking about the Long Branch. I guess one of my photography exploration first memories is going in there, and I think it must have been like right after a prom or something, because there were high school kids in there dressed as prom.
What
and
the hell?
I know. Well, it's just whatever.
Yeah.
And they, I remember doing some photo shoots when they were playing pool and stuff. But it was nothing. Just a weird random memory whenever you talk about that
Why
stuff.
the hell would you let high school kids in the Long Branch?
Well,
They're going to die.
And they may not. Well, it was a dead night.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Were they really there? Ooh.
oh yeah, that's hilarious. Well, I still have the photos somewhere, just like
Yeah.
everything else. I've got reams and reams of CDs that are
Oh my God.
probably not going to be readable in the next 5 years. But
I didn't realize Old College Inn used to be where Moose's was.
oh yeah, I remember that.
Huh. Because it was always down on the far end where
I think
Sunspot.
for some reason. Well, I remember when they moved, but I don't. I never went in there a whole lot.
Okay.
I was just, but I
It's
remember
just
it was
so weird.
It was etched on the side of the building too, wasn't it?
I just remember going, same guy, when we would do those bar hopping, I'd be wearing shorts and a T-shirt. And we popped into Old College Inn one day, and I think it was like a Sunday, like during brunch. And we showed up, both of us just dressed like that.
Yeah.
And everyone looked at us weird because everybody had just come from church or
Yeah.
something. And I was like, what the hell? I just want to drink a beer. Like,
I think that was the first place that I ever saw like John Ward out in the wild.
yeah.
Is that's one of those spots. Oddly enough, Rafferty's back when it was before Double Dogs moved in.
Yeah.
Out west.
Yeah.
Every time I went in there, Phil Fulmer or somebody was going to be in there, and
Really?
it was strange. It's a strange place to expect.
Yeah.
To run into someone local famous.
Local famous. Last time I saw John Ward out in the wild was at Nukes in Turkey Creek. And everyone was just like, that's John Ward. That's John Ward. Holy crap, that's John Ward. And he could not look, like he was just sitting there eating his meal
Yeah.
with his wife. And I was like, do we go and ask for a photo or is that inappropriate? Like, that's John freaking Ward, man. Like,
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not going to do that. And nobody did.
That's
Nobody-
like seeing Dr. Bass in the wild now.
Yeah.
it's
Nobody
like-
bothered him. Yeah.
Back at UT, I was in Dr. Bass's class.
Really?
Yeah. He was teaching just intro to anthropology or something like that. And it was one of my electives, and I was not the best student that year. And, I would always sit in the front row, but, I probably shouldn't have taken that class because it was a little out of my depth.
Oh my God.
Or it was also like probably an 8 o'clock class. And
Did you know about the body farm when you took that class?
I did.
Okay.
And another weird Polk County connection. Back when I was in 4th or 5th grade, we had a illegal fireworks factory down there that was
Really?
masquerading as a bait farm. And I remember being in class and hearing this huge explosion. And, some of my classmates' parents were working there, and just
my
different things like that. Well, when I was back in that anthropology class, Dr. Bash showed some of the forensic,
Yeah.
photos that he had done when he was investigating that explosion.
Oh my God.
And of course, there were no faces, but it was as a young person, as a kid, I had no idea. The carnage is like you
Gruesome.
just say, oh, there was an explosion and people died. You don't see people hanging from trees and
Right.
all the graphic
Oof.
stuff.
Oh.
But afterwards, I went up to him and said, "Hey, I was in."
Yeah, I was.
That's
in
where
school.
I'm from.
Yeah. I
It's one of those remember where you were when
Yeah. I saw him speak at. Do you remember there for a short time there in Bearden there was a bookstore in that little stretch where like Egg and I is.
Yeah.
The-
Was it? It wasn't a Barnes and Noble, but it was like that.
No, it was a local bookstore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right across from Fisher Tire or Big
Yeah,
Fatties.
I know where you're talking about. But
on the far right side there. It was a. I'm pretty sure it was a local bookstore.
okay,
It was small, but he came and spoke.
probably like Hamburg Pages or something.
Yeah.
Hamburg Books.
And it was his book where he did all the celebrity stuff, like the Big Bopper, and like he did.
Oh, yeah.
And who was the? Why can't I never remember his name? The guy in London who killed the hookers,
Jack the Ripper.
Jack the Ripper. I can never. Anyway, but he's sitting there and he's talking. Him and his partner, the Jefferson guy.
Yeah,
So they're
it's
talking.
his son, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh. Huh.
Yeah, because or maybe not. Maybe I'm completely wrong. But I was thinking the books that they wrote, Jefferson Bass was.
Oh,
his
that
son.
was just a combination of their two names.
Yeah, but I was thinking that it was his son for
No,
some
I
reason.
thought his name was something Jefferson.
Okay.
Either way.
completely-
Either way.
Yeah.
If only we had
Just happy to be here.
tiny computers. Oh, shit. But he was talking, and there was a kid there. There was like a 7-year-old girl sitting down front. This is still one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And he's talking, and he starts talking about lot lizards. Yeah. So for those at home who don't know what a lot lizard is a hooker that frequents
Truck stops.
And he was like, oh, yeah, so, truckers are notorious killers. And he was like, they'll pick up a lot lizard along, I'm trying to think, does 40 go to Memphis?
Yeah.
Okay. Either way.
I have a friend in Oklahoma, and I say, I'll just get on, it's like.
Yeah.
like you
They'll
live
pick
right
up a
the
lot
road.
lizard in Memphis and drive and use her. And about that point, he looks down at the mom of the kid, and is like, oh, I'm sorry. Is it okay that I talk about this? And the mom's like, yeah, I guess. He's like, cool. So when the lot lizard, when he has sex with her and is done with her, I was like, oh my God.
Oh, jeez.
I was done. He just kills her and throws her out the side of the car. I was like, oh my God. This poor kid. Of course, I'm in the back dying laughing because I was like, he was like in the middle and then went, oh, is this okay? Okay, cool. And then just goes right back into it and gets
Wow.
even more graphic
Yeah.
about. It's like, oh my God. Sometimes their heads pop off when they hit the, whatever he said. But it was just like, this is the funniest damn thing I've ever seen.
And the little kid was, a cartoon lizard jumping
Yeah.
into a transfer truck,
That's okay, Mommy. The head will grow back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
One funny thing that he used to, when during his class, he would show like family trips because they went down into Georgia, these Etowah mounds, I think is what they were called, but they were these Indian burial mounds and different things
Right.
that he would show these pictures from the 60s with his little children and his wife. And yeah,
Oh my God.
I was more intrigued by the family photos with
Yeah.
him, with the same buzz cut, but
Yeah.
a brown buzz cut or whatever,
Yeah. And with the kids.
Yeah,
Next to Indian burial ground.
Yeah, it's
oh, God.
it was a fun class. Now that I'm
Oh, I have
looking
no
back.
doubt. Was it down under the stadium, or
No,
that's where his office is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That class was underneath McClung Museum,
Really?
Yeah, it was like a auditorium down that was way down there, and yeah, I got you.
Pull it. You can pull it closer to you. You
Okay.
don't have to
Well,
lean
it's good.
so far.
No, I'm good.
A little behind the scenes action here
Oh,
on
yeah.
Ramblin' Man. Okay, so it's under the McClung. There was an auditorium down there.
Yeah, and there were
Huh.
a few little showcases that had like I guess the interpretations of early man and
That's
the little
awesome.
plaster jawbones and different things that it sometimes when I came or left from that class, I would go in and look around there
That's
a little
awesome. I haven't been in there in forever.
bit. Yeah, that's one of those under treasured Knoxville places in my opinion.
The
you know.
McClung, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember this would have been like late 90s. WUOT used to have record sales.
Oh yeah?
And they would set up in the communications building in that circle right there with all the big windows. And they would just set up crates of records.
Yeah.
And my dad and I don't know how we found out about it, but we started going to those. And they had them every year. Excuse me. And they would all be $1 a piece.
Yeah.
And it was all these records, some of them from like the 40s and the 30s.
Mm-hmm.
And
I remember going to one of those record shows. It wasn't there though. They had set
Okay.
up in the main entrance of the communications building.
okay.
And being a geeky kid from where I was, there was a band called Daniel Amos that, my skater pals, Chris Cummings from Polk County with me. He was a big Daniel Amos fan, and all of a sudden I had all these. I found,
That's
and I
hilarious.
bought them for like $1 a piece. There
Yeah.
were probably 5 of them, and that was at that probably that same record
Probably
store
so.
or record sale.
Yeah.
I don't know. You said UOT. I think
It
it
was
was
all-
probably UTK that
Okay.
WUTK. That,
No, this one was UOT because it was all like jazz and it was mainly classical.
Okay.
There wasn't a lot
Yeah,
of.
it was rock albums that I ran into. So that's something you may not know. Back in for a little while, I did the DJ thing.
Really?
Yeah, at UTK.
While you were in school or after?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
No, just I was like the 2 to 4 a.m. fill in on a Sunday night or something like
Nice.
that. But it was funny. One of my friends from high school, Lori Smith, had just won. This will give you the era. Had just won Miss Tennessee. She had
Okay.
gone to Tennessee Tech and whatever. But I remember when I heard, and I was like, here's Celebration sending out to Lori. Whole Miss World had just
Oh,
come
God.
out, so I
Oh,
just played
God.
that, just as that was the
It's a goof.
yeah, but it was also like in the rotation when I was there.
That's hilarious. Okay, so did you have a cool name for your show or anything?
No, it was
No.
Knoxville Rob. No, it was years
Knoxville
before
Rob.
I turned into Knoxville Rob or started that whole foolishness.
Foolish. Oh,
I
oh my God.
and I credit Saul with that too, because he was like the first person that I knew who was on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I was like, Twitter sounds good. It
Yeah.
sounds like fun. I think there were like 7 million people on Twitter at the time.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I randomly picked Knoxville Rob because there was, everybody was using their full name or whatever.
Yeah.
And at one point, I decided to change it to Rob the Realtor. And Jigsha, do you remember
Yeah.
her? She was like, "No, you're Knoxville Rob.
Yeah.
Don't change it." And so, but that's the only real time that I've toyed with getting rid of Knoxville Rob.
I'm going to look and see. There used to be a way where you could, I'm curious, and we may have to do.
Oh yeah, your Twitter ID number.
Yeah.
I think if you look up your Twitter ID, mine was like 7 million something.
So I remember mine was like that. It was
We
like
used-
that, but it was, shoot.
That's how we pick on people about being an OG, or
Yeah.
whatever. It's like my Twitter number.
Left hand
was-
side, bottom left widgets. Create new. What the hell is this?
I think it's just look up your Twitter ID or your Twitter ID number. Something along those lines.
Oh, there we go.
It's like know your Twitter number.
This is great podcasting.
Again, if we only had tiny computers in our pockets to look up such things.
Yeah. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you were even before me. Because I felt good at being in, mine's like 15 million.
Yeah.
Like that was actually a badge of honor there for a while, was that I was that low.
Yeah.
I remember, though, it took me somebody trying to talk me into it like 2 months for me to finally sign up. Because he was like, man, it's just so cool and you can do all this. I was like, dude, it is like status updates on Facebook, man.
Somebody...
Why would I ever do that?
Yeah, back then I remember somebody was asking, so what is Twitter? I mean, it's only like, I said, it's like sending a text message to everybody in the world, and somebody may look at it, and you never know who is, going to. Have you ever had any cool interactions with Twitter celebrities?
I have. And there for a while, any interactions I had with actual celebrities, I would screen grab it so I wouldn't forget.
Yeah. I think,
and then I just stopped caring, I think is what it was.
Yeah. I stopped doing a whole lot, but back in the day, I remember a short conversation with Gilbert Gottfried and a short conversation with Henry Winkler, and both of those are
holy
like
crap,
really,
that's awesome.
really cool.
Yeah.
And I think when I went with Randall to it was like a book presentation. It wasn't like a book signing, but it was Steve Inskeep a couple of years ago, probably like 10 now, but he was the guy with NPR, and he was just putting out a book about the interactions between Andrew Jackson and John Ross with the Cherokee removal. And I've always been interested because John Ross is my mom's family. And so I went to that, and then probably less than a year ago, I tweeted out that I used the Libby app. That's one of my 2018 discoveries, where you can use your library card and pull up the Libby app and have like audiobooks or whatever,
no,
free.
I didn't know about that.
Oh, it's free and it's awesome, and everybody should do it. But maybe get a library card other than Knox County, because I use up a lot of the books.
Oh, do you?
No, but they'll give it to you for 21 days, and it's awesome.
Huh. Okay.
But
yeah, you went to that. So did you have an interaction with him on?
Yeah, well, I tweeted out that I was enjoying the book, and he was like, "Oh, thanks." That was all.
I've had a few of those, and it's weird now because a lot of people don't even mention the people anymore.
Yeah.
Whereas back in the day, that was a big thing. Like, no, you need to make sure you mention them.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Do you know who the biggest person? Probably Henry Winkler, I would assume.
Oh yeah. Well, in production, probably Gilbert Gottfried, because he's been in hundreds of movies.
Yeah.
But
he's the fun.
Yeah, Henry Winkler. And he's so nice. He's like, if you ever want to be uplifted, pull up the Henry Winkler, because he's so gracious to everybody. And
nicest man in Hollywood. Yeah. I know I chatted with Sarah Watkins of Nickel Creek on there when she came and performed Tennessee Shines solo the first time. But it was funny because here's a funny page story. Is that's back when they were doing Tennessee Shines at the Bijou, and I put something like headed to at Disc Exchange to pick up my tickets to at WDVX at Tennessee Shines to see at Sarah Watkins. Can't wait. At the Bijou. Can't wait. Exclamation point. Hashtag Knoxville. Hashtag, I think hashtag Knoxville. And she responded.
It's almost like reading code.
Yeah, she responded back with, yay, can't wait to get back to Knoxville. I love that city. And then I think it was Paige on the Tennessee Shines account or on the DVX account.
Yeah.
Messaged back and said, you cannot purchase Tennessee Shines tickets at Disc Exchange. It's like, damn it. Okay. Did Sarah see that? I hope Sarah didn't see that. I think that was back when it didn't automatically respond to everyone in the thread. It just responded to one person. It was like, oh my God, I'm an idiot. Okay.
Nah.
I've had a few. I've had quite a few on there. A lot of comedians. But yeah, I don't know. It's to the point. I don't mean to sound flippant or like I'm too cool, but I just don't care. It's like,
Well,
cool.
no, yeah, well, there's it ebbs and flows on how
Yeah.
excited you are to,
Yeah.
with
There's
anything like that.
There's one that cracks me up. There's a comedian who I will not mention his name that he wrote a book, and when he published the book, he was like, anybody who buys my book through this link, I'll follow them on Twitter.
Uh-huh.
It's like, cool. So, he started following me on Twitter.
Yeah.
But I think he muted everyone he follows because
Oh,
I've
yeah,
tried
I'm
to
sure.
at him a few times, and he never responds.
Yeah.
And I think I've even DM'd him where he's asked a question or something.
Yeah. And you've replied, but no.
No
Yeah.
response. To where now, and anybody listening to this will maybe, well, no, never
That
mind.
sounds like a Brian Posehn trick. Just
Yeah.
kidding.
But now his wife has a podcast, and I feel like at mentioning it to her is like, can you get him to unmute me? I was like, I didn't do anything wrong. I just think he just muted everybody. I was like, damn it, just, good Lord, dude.
That's fun.
So in these shows you were going to in college, some of these smaller shows are probably bands that went on to become bigger things. Did you?
Some of them did. Most of them didn't. you know?
When you were backstage, with a press pass or anything, who all did you get to meet that
Oh gosh.
you can remember? Did you get to meet?
celebrity interactions?
Did you get to meet the dudes from Spin Doctors, and how?
Oh,
close,
no.
How
I
close
was-
did you get to them before you could smell the patchouli?
Well, no. I was
just
just in the stadium. We were in
Yeah.
the upper bleachers and whatever. But
Okay.
but no, you could smell the patchouli from there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let's see, 311.
Okay.
I think. I think I briefly ran into one of the Spin Doctors, but it wasn't like,
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
it's like whatever. Gosh, I'm trying. It's a good question. It's like it's not. There was a band called the Connells.
I don't.
They
know.
were way back. They were like, gosh, I remember my first telephone interviews with the Daily Beacon were with a guy from the Connells and a guy from Big Head Todd and the Monsters.
Oh crap! Okay.
And that was fun.
Yeah.
But and Coco Taylor, she's a blues singer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
know
got to
Coco Taylor.
have nice long conversations with those, but none of that was face to face. It was all
Okay.
over the phone. There was also, let's see, there was a Christian singer that his name is Rich Mullins, and he died in an awful car accident.
Oh,
but
man.
but one of the press passes that I got was to interview him. Like, we were at some music festival, and it was interesting because he was kind of like Todd in that his turn of phrase was just like special, or at least it resonated with me like better than most people or most performers.
Yeah.
And I remember just sitting there eating KFC with him. And he was like, "No, I work hard like a plumber on my music." And I'm like, that
Yeah.
always stuck in my brain because it's like I just think you kind of assume that these guys just this stuff just rolls off their tongue. Like some
Yeah.
people say, "Oh yeah, I didn't write that; it wrote itself."
Yeah.
But it was just interesting.
Muse
Yeah,
came within me, and
Yeah.
yada yada yada.
I mean, and if you ever go back and look at Rich Mullins' music, there's certain songs that even if you're completely not into Christian
Right.
music, if you grew up during that time, it would be familiar.
Okay. I'll have to look him up. You can't think.
He was cool because he quit. Like he was pretty popular in the Amy Grant. He wrote Amy Grant and Michael W.
Oh.
Smith songs.
Okay.
But he basically quit performing and moved out to Arizona to. He started a music school for Native American children,
That's awesome.
and he was doing that when he died.
Oh God. Okay. That's a shame.
Sorry, let's
Way to
let's
bring us
it,
down,
let's bring
man.
it down. But I don't know. He's a memorable guy. Sorry.
So now we're going to switch to happier topics.
Yeah. Sorry about
No,
that.
I'm just kidding.
Oh.
So around this time, and this was a weird time in that, like, the Strip actually had local places on the Strip.
Yeah.
Like now it seems to be all corporate or big.
Well, I think when
chains.
they put the boulevard in, it had like two effects. Number one, it's nice, whatever. It's nice that it's a little different, but it pretty much put out.
They also put up. It was weird that they put up a giant apartment complex right in the middle of the strip.
Yeah.
That's just so weird to me. Like that doesn't seem. And they also, I noticed they called that the Standard.
Oh yeah.
After the Standard was already a thing, and I saw that there's a new one popping up, and it's called the Hive. It's like, really?
Oh, wow.
It's like, who are these developers that are just stealing names?
Yeah.
I can't wait for the Central Collective.
Funny story with that. Yeah, the Standard. One of my friends was having a fundraiser at the Standard on Jackson Avenue.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh yeah, I'll absolutely be there," and ended up going to the Standard on the Strip.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was like a good half an hour late, just getting that few blocks across town.
Yeah. Okay. So, and also in your time, you've seen a ton of changes around here.
Oh yeah.
So, like in restaurants and food and development and everything, and I know we're not supposed to talk about real estate, which I'm.
We can talk about it.
I'm honestly saying it just to give Rob a hard time because I sent him back a message in all caps. Rob, we will talk about real estate, and you'll be happy about it, or something like that. And but it's like even that, like from that perspective. So what? Wait, I have my little notes. We're going to circle back around though,
Okay.
in true Rambling Man fashion. We'll write down real estate and development. Mission trips.
Oh, yeah.
Did you go on a lot? Like, was that when you went on those mission trips? Were that?
Some of them were big, some of them were small, some of them were just once you get into a set of cool people, they start I don't know. It started. Mission trips were just an outgrowth of being a member of the little Baptist student over there. Now it's the Baptist Collegiate Ministry, I think is what it's called. But yeah, let's see, where all did we go?
Was that your first time outside the country? I think.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah, we went to Jamaica and Costa Rica, put a roof on a church and put a roof on a lady's house and, that kind of stuff. And then, let's see, Costa Rica, Jamaica, South Korea. I spent a summer in South Korea, which was pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually started picking up the language about halfway through.
Oh my God.
But
That's amazing.
that was called the summer, I think it was like the summer English day camp. And we just basically met with students over there and they practiced their English on us. And we did,
Yeah.
Bible studies and went through little books and not all Bible study. Sometimes they were whatever simplified
Right.
literary stories or whatever.
Right.
But that was one of the best experiences.
Did you all travel a lot when you were growing up? Like, did you go?
We did the
Road
same things
trips.
everybody did. We went to Myrtle Beach in Florida and,
Yeah.
however you can get to a beach, kind of.
So the
Cheap and easy.
going outside of the country was a real culture shock.
It was, but it's one of those ways that I knew that, regardless where I land, I can assimilate and be pretty
Right.
happy. It's going back to that kid that first stepped on UT campus. I was just trying to meet all the Koreans. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it was, but that was a big, that was an awesome experience. And being in some of those little Caribbean islands and down in Central America,
Yeah.
it's kind of funny because there's a set of people, if you're there to do good rather than, you're not just a tourist, you're not
Yeah.
just there to buy that trinket and not interact with somebody.
Yeah.
I remember in Costa Rica, I was the dork who decided to sleep in the hammock instead of in the tent and, woke up with howler monkeys over my head, and,
Oh my God.
and then that was the first night. And, the second night there was a rainstorm and I went back to the tent.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But,
that's hilarious.
just actually sleeping pretty much uncovered in the jungles.
Yeah.
Probably not my best moment. Not the best idea, but
It's worth it. You're young. You
Yeah.
can get away with that stuff
yeah.
when you're
But
young.
in Jamaica, we stayed in these little metal buildings that were way out, not where everybody else was.
Okay.
And you could hear the pulsing reggae from the music hall down the
That's
bottom of the
amazing.
hill. And
Yeah.
that was one of my best memories. How to just falling asleep to that, and
Okay.
just the pulsing rhythms and music. And
Have you kept that up as you've gotten older? Have you traveled outside the country much?
a few trips.
Okay.
I love cruising, so
Okay.
and it's kind of it's a cheap way to see 2 or 3 cool places.
Okay. Yeah.
But as far as mission trips kind of thing, I haven't done a whole lot. My dad does a lot of them. He'll go
Okay.
up north and do something, or I think when Katrina hit, I had some friends that went down and
Okay.
did that kind of stuff. It's kind of weird. I just haven't had the time to do it.
Right.
I would love to do
right,
it,
Right. Okay. So
or haven't
now-
taken the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of those things that sometimes you don't think about it until it's there or it's past, and then you're like, oh yeah, I could have done that.
Right.
And then you're like, I need to remember that for next time, and then it comes back around sooner rather than later. It's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I should have done that. Okay. Yeah.
Well,
okay.
a few, I guess it was a couple months ago. Amy and I went to see Ed Sheeran down in Atlanta,
Yeah.
and that's one of our goals. If the economy holds and we can save it up, he's got like 3 or 4 dates toward the end of this year that we'd like to save up and maybe take a trip to England to see,
Nice,
in
nice.
his hometown. He's doing 3 or 4 shows, and I thought that would be a perfect excuse to go back to London and
Yeah.
kind of do that, and then also I never went to the English countryside, so I think that would be awesome.
That would be amazing. I do want. Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I think from here on, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to have an event that I'm going to.
Yeah.
Rather than,
Yeah. Rather than just go to go. That's what I was thinking about. Like, I was talking. There's another podcast I did with somebody that did a mission trip to the Czech Republic, and I was talking later with a buddy of mine who's traveled a lot in Europe, and I was like, I feel like if I just went there just to go there, I would be bored out of my mind.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sure there is tons to do, but
Mhm.
all of it would revolve around like eating or shopping, or I was like,
Yeah.
that would bore me to death. Like,
If
I've
I'm
gotta
going to Germany, I want to go for Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
If I'm going to the Czech Republic, I have no idea.
if I'm going to the UK, I want to dig into crates and find a bunch of cool records or something.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta have something to do when I go.
Yeah.
Last time
See if I could find Herman's Hermits.
yeah, oh my God.
Hello,
Hey,
Peter Noonan.
I've heard of this new band, the Monkeys. Are they still playing around here?
Oh, that's funny. It seems like that Knoxville's the place for the monkeys to go to die. Is that? We were talking about that the other day. That Davy Jones played his last show, and
Yeah.
you met Peter Tork, or was that somebody else?
No, that was somebody else.
Okay, yeah, we had
That's
a monkeys
funny.
conversation this week. I've had with someone.
Oh my God, yeah, and I'm trying to think of like how many musicians that this was the last place they played.
Yeah.
Like Hank Sr.,
Mm-hmm.
Randy Rhoads from Ozzy,
Oh, really? I don't know that I knew that.
and I think even Cliff from Metallica.
Jeez.
Like, I think there's a few. Like, I may be wrong on
No
the Cliff.
wonder we don't get as good concerts as Asheville.
Yeah, I may be wrong about the Cliff for Metallica, but I know Randy Rhoads. Yeah, this was the last place he played.
Mm.
Yeah, Davy Jones. I'm sure there's more. Yeah, now we're going down a morbid path.
Well, we had the Esoterica conversations about. For some reason, I thought Jack Hanna and Stan Brock were both on the Mutual of Omaha Wild Kingdom,
Yeah,
but I guess Jack Hanna just did his own thing because I was
Yeah.
thinking because Jack Hanna's from here,
right.
and then Stan Brock did the whole remote area medical here.
Yeah,
but
and it's definitely not from here.
no,
Like,
no, he's British, isn't he, or wasn't he?
was he British or Australian? One of the two.
One of the two.
Again, if we only had tiny magical computers in our pockets. And one of the big sportscasters, Dr. Jerry Punch. He
Yeah.
lives here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I find fascinating. Like you chose to move to Knoxville.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. There may be a reason. His wife may be from here or something. I don't know.
It seems like a whole lot of famous people's spouses are from like Morristown or something for some
Yeah,
reason.
because isn't it Callista Flockhart? Her family is from and still lives in Morristown.
Yeah, that's the reason Harrison Ford pops up every once in a while.
God.
Although I heard, did his son go to UT or something? I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. That's
That's one of those legends. Like growing up in Polk County,
Yeah.
I swear Eddie Vedder, Peyton Manning, and everybody's bought a piece of land somewhere in Polk County that's the scuttlebutt that always flew around.
Really?
It's like, oh yeah, yeah.
That's interesting. They, I know a big thing here. I think I mentioned this on one of those other ones that you listened to was about the Allman Brothers, about Greg Allman buying a cabin in Gatlinburg back when that was not really a thing. Like,
Yeah.
there were like 4 cabins up on the mountain, and he was one of the 4 that owned a cabin.
Back when it was special.
Yeah, in
Well-
like the 70s. Okay. Oh, it's going to transition nicely into real estate and
Oh
development.
Lord.
No.
No, I'm just kidding.
No.
I love real estate.
No, I want to talk more about like development because it's been interesting seeing places like Central,
Yeah.
Bergen, when they were just dead forever. Like
Yeah.
it was just empty buildings forever.
Well, the first house I ever bought, and I'd like to talk about Central too, but was in South Knoxville where Alliance is.
Yeah.
That used to be an old laundromat.
Yeah.
And there was train tracks that ran behind it. And I bought my first house right behind that laundromat back in 1999 for like $32,000.
Wow.
And now that house, of course, I don't still have it, but that house would probably be worth, 120, 130,
I think Adeem and I were looking in the blue house, that little run of houses across from Everything Mushroom.
Yeah.
They were beautiful houses.
Yeah.
But they were fixing up one, and we looked up how much it was selling for.
It was
and
like 250s?
I think it was higher than that.
Really?
It was some ungodly amount. I was like, what in the hell are you talking about? I was like, I guarantee you
Sequoia Hills and a small patch of land here in South Knoxville.
I was like, I guarantee you I can go back on the record on this and find that this house was probably sold at one point in the last 15 years for $18,000.
Yeah, on a tax sale, probably.
Yeah, I guarantee it. Because I remember these houses used to be trash. Like,
Yeah.
they used to be beat to hell.
Well, and like a block beyond that, now that's getting all fixed up and,
Yeah.
and gentrified. And that was the place where, nobody would live except for the college students who dropped out.
Yeah.
And we're not getting family help anymore.
Yeah. Because my cousin lived back in there at one point in one of those houses, and it was fixed up at that point. But
But that still happens. I sold a house over on Jonathan, which is right off Davenport.
okay.
Right there next to. I sold one of those for like whatever, $40,000 last year. I mean,
okay.
they're
There is one group of houses that I should have texted you and said, what is the deal on these damn houses? Not that I want to bug you about real estate. They're just gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
It's if you go, I'm trying to think how to get there. Okay, I was at Alliance, and I left Alliance and crossed the bridge and went back under that first
Island
exit.
Home.
No, it's on the other side of the river.
Oh, okay, Scottish Pike.
So I went back and I went down there where like Parrot Printing is.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I was going the back way to, I was going the back way to Straw Plains.
Okay.
That way.
Yeah.
I'm going to find where Parrot Printing is.
Off like Sevierville Pike or.
Maybe. See, this is, oh man, great podcasting, Jody.
Yeah.
Attaboy, Jody.
Oh, off Martin Mill. Going that way.
I don't know.
Hmm.
Parrot Printing, Knoxville, Tennessee.
I always get them and Union Printers.
Oh,
mixed
no,
up.
Riverside Drive.
Oh, yeah.
Along Riverside. So I go that way down the back way to Straw Plains.
Yeah.
There are these giant like plantation homes.
Do you know one of those was Tennessee Williams, the famous playwright? It was his
Really?
granddad. owned
Okay,
that.
so you know exactly where I'm talking
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
And they are just trash.
Right across from the brick
Yeah,
General
yeah,
Shale
yeah,
or whatever.
Yeah, General Shale. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, one of those. I know one of them was Tennessee Williams, whatever, but yeah, they're
And one
they're
of them
derelict.
had like one of those chutes looking like they were not like at some point 10 years ago somebody was fixing it up and then just stopped.
Yeah.
But do you know what the deal is with those? Like they're not for sale.
Mm-mm. I don't. I really don't. I could pull up the tax records and find out, who it belongs to, and
Yeah.
probably trace it back. But
I just don't understand why you don't fix up those homes.
Yeah, I
Because I
know.
guarantee you can get a ton of money for those houses.
well, it's kind of. There were so many small houses that were built right around it, and all that kind of stuff. I think only recently has there been enough, a level of
want.
Knoxville nice city.
Yeah.
I did a blog the other day about gentrification and how it stinks that people get kicked out of their the neighborhood that
Yeah.
they grew up in, and how kind of insensitive realtors are sometimes to be part of the gentrification, yay.
Yeah.
That's I guess having John Ross in my family, it feels like these
Yeah,
people are just
yeah.
getting kicked out, and I feel terrible for them. But I have to work both sides.
Yeah.
The person that wants to buy a house for $18,000 and turn it into something that's $300,000. They're that person is love all, serve all. That's what I try to do.
Yeah. I don't know what it was. I think it was the first time I saw those houses, and it just blew my mind that they were in such disrepair. Like,
Yeah, it's a tragedy.
that I was like, these are going to get. How are these not on the Knox Heritage save list? 'Cause
Well, and the way that I understand, they kind of, they pick their area and they pick their battles, and I think some of those may have been either holdouts or it's been in that family for 1,000 years, and it's just they're not cared enough about.
Well, that's like there was one point where there's a guy and I that we were looking at starting what was essentially the Gray Eagle right here in Knoxville, like
Yeah.
a mid-sized venue like that.
like a mill in mine, ish.
No, smaller,
Smaller. Okay.
like max.
Oh, I'm thinking of the Orange Pill, not
Yeah, like I think we figured up Gray Eagle was about 400 people, so it'd be 400 people or less.
right.
So it'd be a bridge between Pilot Light and
Mill in mine.
or Bijou. I think
Yeah.
Bijou would be the next biggest.
Yeah.
And we kept looking around places, and I found, I can't remember if it was that or no, it may have been for a friend's brewery. Yeah, a friend was looking to start a brewery here in town, and I suggested they're on the corner of Winona and Washington,
Mm-hmm.
Washington Street, Washington Road,
Washington Avenue.
Washington
Is it?
Avenue.
Yeah. Yeah.
That weird building with the kind of corner entrance.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what about that? And I was talking to a realtor about it, and they said, oh, no, we've tried. Whoever the owner is, he will never sell that property.
That's funny. My buddy Kirby set up his roofing business there on that corner in that building.
In that building?
Yeah.
Okay, that's been a couple years, so
Yeah.
I guess whoever it was finally sold.
Well, I don't know that they sold it. I think
Yeah.
he may still rent it. But
Yeah. But that was when I was like, man, that would make for a great brewery tap house
Mhm.
because of how the entrance is and everything. It looks like it used to be an old grocery store or something, little market. But so a lot of that stuff you've gotten to see, like a lot, like Central getting redeveloped and
Yeah.
a lot of that area. Thank God, because that area at Central and Broadway was always just like been empty or sad forever.
Well, and my connection to that little area is kind of weird because even though I grew up in Polk County, my dad was an orphan living in like Grand Avenue, and like right off Fort Sanders.
Yeah.
When he was like 3 or 4 years old, and he would just kind of travel back and forth, and he would go to the Boys and Girls Club, Boys Club back then.
Yeah.
There on Silver Place, right off 4th and Gill.
Okay.
that would be like his babysitter because they didn't have any money. But he was living. I moved in when I was in school. I moved into Grand Forest Apartments, and he was helping me move in. And he said, "You know what? I used to live on Grand Avenue." And I was like, "Really?"
Yeah.
And he was telling me about this. Probably a lot like those derelict buildings we were talking about. I mean, he said we lived in a tenement and you could see like chickens through the roof and cats, whatever. It was nasty. But so I kind of had an affinity for that area just because, thinking about Dad and all of his stuff that he had been through as a little guy.
Yeah.
And he said he went to Brownlow School. I was like, hey, they developed these new condos next to my house. I used to live on Glenwood.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, yeah, I went to that school when I was little.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So all the stuff that I love, he's like, has these bittersweet memories about,
That's interesting because I think it was about a year or two ago, the city brought in a bunch of developers to Rural High School to see if there was anything that could be done.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fascinating to me because I was like, maybe let's not gentrify there.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to do something there, that's fine. But I think a lot of developers were like, it would cost too much money.
Well, that old South, what is it, Young?
Yeah.
Whichever, the one over off of, what is the name of that street? Moody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one supposedly is finally getting some kind of condos.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, South Knoxville is so weird. Like, we had one of those big table meetups, and we met at Sono Taco.
Mm-hmm.
And
I love that place.
We talked about, like, what it would take for South Knoxville. I was like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Because you got Chapman Highway, and Chapman Highway is just a mess. Like, it's hard to get developed on Chapman Highway, but you can go back into these neighborhoods and do stuff. But
well, a lot of times it's hard, especially talking with people who moved in from out of town.
yeah,
To get their cardinal directions. I'll say, well, Kingston and Magnolia are roughly the same street.
Yeah.
And then Chapman and Broadway are roughly the same street. It's just they change names and they, but those are your
north to south.
Everything's
east to
right
west.
off one of those.
Yeah.
Unless you're in Farragut. But
or in Halls.
yeah, that's true. Well, no.
Well, no, that's still
it's still Broadway. But yeah, it's just strange because in the hierarchy, like Magnolia, which is being developed now, but a few years ago, it was still the second most traveled street, second or third most traveled street in town.
Yeah.
And you couldn't get anything. And Chapman's kind of the same way, although I think since they've kind of fixed the bridge and since who knew that bicycle trails was going to be the secret to turning South Knoxville into something
seriously
awesome.
That I think in cheap housing. Because I think there's a lot of friends that I've known that have moved over there because they can get affordable housing. Because places like even my neighborhood here in North Knoxville is starting to get priced out.
Yeah,
for some people,
to
where I think a lot of people are like, no, I'll just go over south and fix up a house. And
yeah, but
yeah,
now that's getting harder and harder too. You know? So I've heard the next big migration is toward Cedar Lane over in Fountain City.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be the next place that has inexpensive properties that you can still get in for a lower price and start
crazy.
to go. Although I don't know, that just seems like a neat area historically.
Yeah,
seems like it wouldn't be the cheap places, but I guess it's all a comparison. Yeah.
So a lot of these, I'm trying to think how to put this politely where I'm not putting you in a weird position to talk about. But it's interesting, like a lot of these developers, not even the gentrified, just like going in and fixing up an old building.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's a lot of that being done, but some of it's like, I don't know that you're reaching the full potential. Like, I'm sure the guys are nice, but that building there on the corner in between Stripe Light and Central Collective, that building drives me nuts because I think those guys are in there, but they're not really doing anything with it. And it's just like, oh my God, this could be so much better.
Well, some of it's a struggle with the city.
Is it really?
Yeah, I had a friend that wanted to set up a barcade,
Yeah.
at the old, right there across from Broadway Carpets, where
Yeah. We've talked about
yeah.
that, where the old co-op used to be.
the food co-op.
Yeah.
And they ran into problems with the city where, you're only allowed 3 parking spaces, and it wasn't big enough to sustain.
Yeah.
And they would have to, specially approach, the folks at Broadway Carpet,
Yeah.
because the mass of people who would be parking there would be after hours and different times, but there's all sorts of issues that could crop up.
Well, did they luck out with? Are they still in there?
No,
Okay.
I think they sold it. And
Okay.
I don't know what's coming in now, but
I was curious because I noticed while they were doing that little crappy car dealership next door went
cleared
away,
out. Yeah,
cleared away, and I was like, well, maybe that's the solve.
yeah. Somebody was probably. It would, but let's play Monopoly.
Yeah.
Because those are 2 different entities,
Yeah.
and while the building may be whatever $500,000, the parking may be $750,000.
Yeah.
Because those 2 have to go together for it to
Yeah.
be viable.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, that's like that little strip of property in between Hops and Hollers and Central Collective. That lady will not sell.
Yeah.
She will only lease that, and it's like she let those 2 buildings sit there derelict forever.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, no. And I was in there one day it was the Father's Day pop up. She came by and somebody was mowing that little bit of grass that was there.
Yeah.
And she just walked into Dale and Sean sweaty and nasty and was like, while we're trying to hold this event, and was like, hey, whoever's parked along here needs to move their car. They're going to get grass on it. As the guy was mowing and putting grass on the cars. And it's like, what the hell is your problem,
Yeah.
lady? Like, sell it. You won't ever have to worry about it again. Just sell it.
Right.
Just get out of here.
And it's sad because those folks, they probably inherited, a lot of those people inherit it from their granddaddy,
Yeah.
and have just kept up the taxes, and because they know it's going to be worth something someday.
Well, now's the time it's worth something.
Yeah,
like,
I know, but now if you've done that for 70 years,
Yeah.
it's like, well, if it's good again now, how's it going to be in 5 years? Well,
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah. It could be back to nothing.
And are you going to be around in 5 years?
Yeah.
Because some of them are.
Because I think Dale and Sean have talked
bit
about,
older.
they're like, we would just love to have it to flatten it and pave it and make it for more parking.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, the only problem there is the Hops and Hollers people are still going to want to park there
Yeah.
because they don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have to spray paint Central Collective only or something on those spots.
Or have Rob and Jody out there spinning signs and saying you're not allowed to
Yeah,
come.
yeah. I'll do that for a free Good Sport Night ticket.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
I love Good Sport Nights. Those are
Yeah.
just my favorite.
yeah. I'm going to miss the one in January because I'll be at a wedding in Florida.
Oh.
Yeah. Because I was like, oh, I need to go ahead and buy my ticket. Oh, crap. That's the one weekend in January, the one time I have something going on.
Yeah.
They're going to start banning me from them because I don't think I've been to like the last 3.
Oh, really?
Because they've fallen on, like one of them was during a football game. I was like, why in the hell are we doing it during a football game?
Because hipsters don't watch sports. What are
I
you
know.
talking about?
I had that discussion with Kim from Glowing Body on this podcast about they had that Colorama 10-year celebration thing, and it was during a home game.
Uh-huh.
She was like, well, people who go to football games, like, I'm somebody who goes to football
Yeah.
games, and I would have been there in a heartbeat. I was like, I think you're underestimating people.
Yeah.
I was like,
I think, yeah. I completely agree with you.
yeah,
I love going. I always tell people I love tailgating. I love watching the band. I love cheerleaders and enjoy the crowd, the kinetic energy that comes off the crowd.
yeah.
I don't really follow the what's going on
The
the field.
foosball side of it.
Yeah, but
Yeah. The foosball side of it. See, and I'm the opposite. I enjoy the football side of
Yeah.
it. And but yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like, man, they're only home 7 Saturdays a year.
yeah.
There's only 7 Saturdays a year that you don't plan something.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it on Sunday. You can do
Yeah.
it on Friday. It's like and to most people, it doesn't matter when they do it, but
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just me. Okay, so
Well, there is the niche aspect too. Where
Yeah.
if it's something that, we don't care, and whatever. There's times when people can come and
right.
go to stuff when they're not watching the game.
I know. Man, I'm trying to think of how to. So, but okay, not to harp on real estate or development or anything, but what got you into the real estate world? What was there something you were doing between college and real estate?
Straight out of college, I worked for marketing for the food service at UT, the Aramark Corporation. And I wasn't, for a while I worked at UT, but then I got 16 colleges between West Virginia and North Georgia, and was just always driving. And that kind of, I don't know, that job kind of takes its toll, and I kind of, petered out on it a little bit.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I got the Carlton Sheets, no money down. You can be a landlord.
Oh God!
This deal on late night television.
Yeah.
And started thinking, well, this was 99 through like 2005. I was married at the time, and we had different stuff going on, but one of the good things we had going on was we started buying the little investment properties over near, back then it was a little bit more relaxed, and you could buy a house and fix it up a little bit, refi it, and borrow the money back out of it and put that as the down payment on the next one.
Okay.
And I mean, you can still do that, but it's it's trickier.
Yeah.
And so when we got divorced, I think we had 18 rental properties.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they were mostly all clumped in South Knoxville and North Knoxville.
Okay.
Then we split them up and whatever.
Yeah.
So I still did that over the years, but and I still have investment like properties, but it's all it was just that's kind of how it was, like a natural transition from I'm going to buy these little houses and fix them up, and to, well, I'm not hearing about stuff as soon as I should as an attentive investor. And probably about halfway through that, the job petered out, and it was time to go do something else. And I started in 2003 selling houses, and I don't know, there were several years of just growth and growth and growth.
Yeah.
And then 08 happened, and some of the times when it takes a psychological toll on you to be working in a down economy selling houses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes to make ends meet or to fill in a gap or something, I sold off most of those.
Okay.
The ones that we played Monopoly one night, and she was like, I want this one, and I'll take that one.
Yeah.
Basically, instead of fighting with lawyers, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Play Monopoly with real houses, but
oh my God, that's hilarious.
But anyway, that's I think as long as the economy holds out, that's something that I intend to do again. Just
starting to do that.
Or maybe when it turns, I'll get back into buying. Who knows?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Here you go. Yeah, that's one regret I have is the house next door. The guy that lived there when I moved in was a UT doctorate student.
Mm-hmm.
And he finished his doctorate and immediately got a job offer in Alabama.
Uh-huh.
And had to sell off that house. And I think he sold it for like $28,000.
Yeah.
And the guy who did it is a guy who flips houses, and he came in and he was like, "It's a 850 square foot house. My house is like a 2,400 square foot house, and I paid $83,500 for mine." And he was talking about that house. And he was like, "Yeah, redoing the floors and fixing up the kitchen a little bit. I expect to get, or I'm putting a new roof on. I'm expecting to get like 96, 95 out of this. So good luck with that, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he ended up selling it for like 62 or something, which still he got his money back.
Oh, yeah.
But it just always bummed me out. I was like, I wish I would have known.
I flipped a couple back in the day.
Yeah. I wish I would have known when that guy was selling to say, hey, man, sell it to me.
Yeah.
And I'll pay you what you want out of it. And then me fixed it up and used it as a rental house.
Mm-hmm. Well, when I do open houses and a lot of people are like, and I don't do them a whole lot, but
Right.
I always make sure that the neighbors know, because a lot of times, you know, why would you do an open house in a neighborhood and not, you know, sometimes the sellers are like, oh, they're just snooping, but they're not. You know, that's the exact demographic that buys in the neighborhood, and they know people and their cousins and whoever. You know, if you want, I was in some of my marketing, I'm like, pick your neighbors. 'Cause, you know.
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah, and it's interesting now because there's been a big turnover here in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
In that, I'm trying to remember, the two houses across the street sold,
Mm-hmm.
and they both sold immediately. And I still have, and this house over here on the far end is sold. And I don't know. I haven't met any of them. This neighborhood is weird in that we don't really talk to one another.
Well,
And everybody, I hate to say it, but like 1, 2, 3, 4 of us are all single people.
yeah.
All of us.
But when you have your chili cooks and things, people are outside. If any of these people, if you really want to know them, they'll probably come and interact.
None of them do.
Yeah.
Like, and it's weird because one of my friends who was at the chili cook, Nancy, she was here across the street because there's a young woman that lives there that she somehow knows.
Uh-huh.
And she messaged me one night. She was like, hey, I'm across the street from your house partying. I was not here. And I was like, but she told me on her way home. I was like, why didn't you invite me to the I was like, and I think I even gave her a hard time about the chili cook. I was like, why didn't you invite her to the chili cook? It's like, I don't know her. And she was like, have you talked to her yet? I was like, she's never outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, she hangs out in her backyard. I was like, then you're going to have to help that out or something.
Behind an 8-foot fence.
I'm also because I even told her, I was like, I'm also a giant dude. I'm not going to just start knocking on somebody's door.
Yeah.
Scare the hell out of them.
Although you come off like
I
hope I come off as, hey, you know, welcoming, non-threatening, you know.
I should just bake a bunch of cookies and go to all 3 of those houses and go, hey, it's taking way too long for us to meet.
Yeah.
I'm Jody. I'm the one who lives on the corner. Sorry that my grass is sometime too high. Sorry that I need to pressure wash my house. And sorry for all the parties I threw.
Yeah.
But you're welcome to come.
Well, they're not wild parties. They're good parties.
Yeah.
So.
They used to be. Yeah. The first one I ever threw, I was like, there were people here that I was like, I don't know who you are. And then I would
take my lampshade off the top of my head.
And I was trying to figure out who they were, and they were like 3 people removed. Somebody had invited them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't me or my roommate. It wasn't me or my roommate's friends. It was one of their friends' friends invited these people. I was like, all right. And there was one guy, he's like, you got a lot of nice CDs. I was like, yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Wow.
And they're cataloged.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, cool. And I had to keep an eye on him because I didn't trust him.
Gosh.
Yeah. So that doesn't happen anymore. Anyway. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Let's see. Yeah, real estate's not really a great topic to talk about. Like, it's just.
Yeah, it's kind of. I mean, I
do you
like,
enjoy? Do you still enjoy it? Because you like meeting people.
Yeah,
and you're very friendly. So.
Well, that's one of the things that I still love about it. And until this year, I never really talked to my friends about, you know, when they would come to me, I would happily help them. But
yeah.
You know, I think that's one of my changes, hopefully, for this year is just to actually get over it and say, hey, you know, I really do want to help you.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But
yeah, you just get referrals from people like me. You're like, you need a realtor? Go talk to Rob.
God, that's something amazing. So you sent Jared sold and bought, and then Jared's sister is about to start, or brother and sister are about to start looking.
Nice.
So that's amazing.
Yeah.
All thanks to Jody.
All thanks to just Jackie's, us sitting at Jackie's.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, I'm pissed off at my realtor. I was like, thought I just heard a knock on my back door. Oh, wait, that is going to make for great podcasting. I'm going to go look, and Rob's going to commentate.
So Jody is standing. He's walking around his recliner. He's picking up his samurai sword and slowly walking toward the back door. Who's in the back door? Who's at Mr. Robinson's neighborhood? Is that you? Are you here? Hello? He's opening the door. He's latching the door. I hear no blood-curdling screams, so there must be nobody back there. Wait, all I hear is silence now. Is Jody coming back? Oh, I hear him coming. Oh, he sheathed his sword again. Lot lizards come knocking.
I told you, woman, not to come. No. I think it's just there's a big tractor trailer truck out here. It looks like a moving truck.
Uh-huh.
And I think it was just something of them driving down the road. It just shook that side door.
Oh, yeah.
Because I looked, there was nobody walking around. I don't know where they're going because they're directed down the dead end, but they're right in the middle of the road. Like
New neighbors, yay.
Yeah. Great podcasting.
Yeah.
No, it looks like one of my neighbors is getting something delivered because I could from here I could see he just walked out of her front door. So I'm guessing she's getting something new dryer, new washer, something delivered. What in the hell were we talking about? You said you were going to start doing more outbound marketing. That's the term I'm going to use this year.
Outbound marketing. No, it's talking to friends and not being afraid to talk about real estate.
No.
You know? But
no, because I think so many people have bad experiences with realtors that.
Well, that's one good thing about being in Knoxville for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I came in 1991, so and over college and over life, I've lived north, south, east, and west. I've been part of communities. Hands down, my best neighborhood experience was 4th and Gill.
Okay.
Because I did the neighborhood newsletter for a while.
Nice.
And every time you walk down the street, you end up on somebody's front porch, talking or having a coffee or whatever. And I don't know. It's just that was the best as far as getting to know your neighbors and everybody, because it seems like, number one, they have the grapevine where if anybody shady is coming along and, trying to be Mr. Approachable.
Yeah.
Like Jody is.
Walking out the side door with my samurai sword.
Well,
yeah.
At least you didn't have the bathrobe on.
Yeah. The cousin Eddie. Yeah.
But.
Yeah.
But living everywhere makes it... I feel like, especially after so many years in real estate, having a familiarity with places, and if somebody wants to talk about Woodland or Westland or or Straw Plains, I've got friends that live out there, and I've been to most streets by now.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I was going to mention I wrote a book. I haven't pushed it, but
here we go.
Yeah, that's one thing. At some point, I'll tell you about it. But anyway, it's a thing that I've been playing with for the past few months.
Is it published yet, or is it coming out soon?
No, it's not published yet. I'm waiting to get it back from the editor.
Oh, okay.
But
how is that process? Because you've been blogging for a while. Though.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
blogged. I've majored in PR. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
it's something.
true. What
It's
am I
like, how did
thinking?
you
Yeah.
not write a book? For
Yeah.
45 years, but
And is it on real estate
it's
or?
kind of on real estate. It's kind of on like more like Knoxville real estate.
Okay.
It's more about getting your house ready and all the stuff that you got to do. Just I would rather have somebody be able to leaf through this thing and say, "Oh yeah, that's something I didn't think about."
Yeah.
Yeah. Just I don't know, just something to make it a little bit easier because I mean it is one of the most stressful times. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna pull $100,000-$300,000 out of my pocket or borrow it from somebody.
Yeah.
And it's better to just go armed with something.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I know a lot of realtors have been putting out little books and stuff. So, but I just think that it's more like a whatever 75, 80 page checklist. These
Yeah.
are things
Yeah.
that you might want to think about. That kind of stuff. But it's not. I just threw it out there because we were talking about real estate.
Oh, no, that's fine. Do you have an expected date then when it would come out?
Oh, probably, hopefully in the next few months.
Oh, okay.
There's not it's already written. It's just getting edited.
Yeah.
Oh.
Dotting all the T's, crossing all the I's.
Yeah, making all my dry language funny. Hopefully,
God. Please.
but yeah, that's one of those fun things that I'm working on that I always wanted to do. I probably started $20, and then
Yeah.
got about 2 chapters in and lost interest. One of my friends, Paul Curry, he got me started on that NaNoWriMo.
Yeah.
November, the
Yeah.
National Novel Writing, and I would start every year, and I'd never go anywhere. He's like finished 5 books or whatever.
Oh my God. Whereas I'm on the opposite end trying to get you to start a podcast.
I've always I have a Knoxville podcast.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I started that on Podomatic, and it's like I don't think that it's now. I think the last time I put something up was like 2012 or something.
Yeah, but they're still all available.
Yeah, they are. And they're on iTunes, or they used to be. I don't know that they purge
Let's
out
see.
stuff.
Shoot.
It's just Knoxville.
I've got them downloaded.
It's a Knoxville podcast.
Boom. A Knoxville Podcast.
Yeah.
There it is. November 14th, 2012.
Yeah.
A Knoxville reboot.
And you should. Oh, yeah. Well, some of my favorites were some of the times that I was going out to the old corner lounge and recording. Like there would be 3 people in there. Phil Pollard did a song that's on there. He's passed away. I remember one time it was So Long Everybody Fields when Sam Quinn and those guys broke
2007 live music wrap-up show.
Yeah.
Knoxville, my dad's hometown. Did you interview your dad on that one?
No, I just talked about him.
Okay. So Long Everybody Fields, July 4th, a Knoxville reboot.
Yeah, and Knoxville Reboot needs to be deleted and actually pick up where I was pretending. Whatever. But yeah, I've always wanted to do that, but then it's like now that niche is well tended by Mr. Jody Collins. I don't know.
Okay, please.
I don't know.
That niche. I'm far from. Yeah.
No,
I can't. Yeah, we won't get into that.
Well, as a rabid fan, I do have to ringingly endorse the podcast
Oh my
for sure.
God. Listen at you.
All your different podcasts.
Yeah, let's see, the new one of them is out. The Knoxville one.
Oh, okay.
It's
Sweet.
It's available. Here you go. Here's a little plug for myself at the end of this podcast. It's the Why Knox. If you just search Why Knox, one word, WHYKNOX.
Okay.
It's me, and the first episode is me and Adam from Alliance Brewing.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, and this next one will probably be, here's a preview. This month's will probably be me and Kim Bumpus to visit Knoxville.
Oh, yeah. She's cool.
And then from there we'll go. The next one, let's see if that one's Kim. I don't know.
Are you going to wrangle some big ears passes?
I usually, through my work with Visit Knoxville, I get a Big Ears pass.
No.
And Rhythm and Blooms, because I usually cover it for them on social media.
I just saw like China's birthday's coming up soon.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, China.
Yeah.
When you said Rhythm and Blooms.
Yeah. But yeah, it'll be interesting this year.
Yeah.
Big Ears is always interesting.
I always intend to go, and then it's like, it's right there. I don't know. It's a time when a lot of times I'm going out of town or something that long weekend.
I'm trying to remember. There was one friend of mine who's talking, Tommy. He was talking about possibly volunteering this year. Because he was like, I feel like if I volunteer, you get a day pass for volunteering for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm thinking about doing that just so I can check it out.
I've done
see
that
what
for
it's
Rhythm and
like.
Blooms before.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was the Dogwood Arts Festival. One
Yeah.
of those
Yeah.
groups like that. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for doing this.
So thank you. Sorry if I...
No. Oh,
Never mind. Thank you so much. This was so wonderful. I really enjoy every time we get to hang out and talk.
see, man.